This is a huge undertaking. I don't think when I started this, I realized how crazy this would be. Part of it is the AI stuff being new and cumbersome and kind of tricky to work with as far as like language processing goes and converting those into real API actions. And that's actually been fun to learn and interesting to figure out. So we've gotten some really great patterns that we can utilize to continue to build out integrations. And I think working with CenterBase first was a really good use case for the capabilities of these AI driven workflows because CenterBase's API was just incredibly complicated. It's about over 5 years since it's been last updated, not very good documentation. And then you just have these like super incredibly messy workflows. For example, you probably don't care too much about this, but I'll dive in real quickly and then we can go to the demo. But the matter field, these are just like an ID mappings. So for each thing, so for example, the description of a matter, we have to look up this complicated ID here, and we have to keep those mapped in the code to match these field IDs. And so when we get data back, we have these field IDs that we have to map to their correct labels. And then we get the data value and the display value. So it's just a very complicated loop that we have to do to be able to make sure all the data is in the right place. We're getting the right data. We're storing it correctly. Well, we technically don't store anything. It's all stored on CenterBase, but we have to keep track of the right labels that we want to update across the interactions. And yeah, that's important to clarify, I guess. We don't store any information. It's stored in messages, but all of the data is kept safe within CenterBase. And we're not trying to take any of the data out. There's no like magic. We're just basically making API requests within CenterBase. Okay, let's dive in. So here's what it can look like on your end as you log into the app. We'll use Microsoft for logging in, I think, with your domain. So anyone within can have a login. And then here you have a chat experience. And then we'll probably have like a default agent or like a research assistant enabled for you. But then the other agent here is a CenterBase assistant. And this is the one that can do all of the operations through CenterBase. So I think before I've demoed how you can add a new contact with a document that gets imported. And now I'll be showing how we can work with matters and update time quickly. So, okay, when you first log in, you'll need to add your credentials. So we'll share a video or something for how to find these, because it's unfortunately not like the same username that you would log in with. But once you have your credentials, you can save that, and that sets up your account to log into CenterBase and do these interactions with. And so now we can say, okay, what is latest matter LLC? And then it's going to go and take that information and it's going to make sure I'm logged in with CenterBase and look for companies called Lambda Career LLC. And it's going to get the ID for the latest matter. And if all goes well, it should return a summary of what the latest matter is for me. And the first time it's got to log in. After that, it should be a little bit quicker. And then it'll stream in this information for that company and the latest matter, specifically this test one that we did. And then, so imagine you're on the go and you can say, hey, I need to bill some time. Rather than having to log in or email somebody to try to log time for you, you can just say, hey, open up the app and let's log 20 minutes for an impromptu meeting to this matter. And I could have said like the latest matter. So, okay, it's got that. It transcribed it. I'm going to send it off and let's see it work. So each step of the way, it's got to read the message, figure out a game plan for what to do behind the scenes. And so some of these, unfortunately, because CenterBase is complicated, will take a little bit of time, but I think it's still way faster than logging into CenterBase and navigating to the right spot with that app and figuring out how to do it within there. I know it's a little bit of a shift from the way that things work. And there are going to be some like bugs and things that happen because these LLMs are not perfect. And so you'll always want to make sure that you are checking and ensuring that the data is in there at the end of the day. We'll set up a way that you can have like a way to communicate with us if things are not going right, and we can kind of go behind the scenes and check out what might have gone wrong and what errors we got, and we might have to tweak some things. But overall, we've gotten it into a pretty good spot. It's been fun to work with and to figure out these kind of, I can like imagine it hopefully saving a lot of time, just being able to go in and do some quick actions. I guess that takes us to next steps, and maybe we should have a meeting soon to discuss that. But let's first get this in your hands so that you can start testing it and figuring out what works and what doesn't. And just hopefully this becomes something that's really powerful for your company. There's a lot of like things we want to be able to do with this, but it is a very complicated system. Thankfully, we've figured out CenterBase for the most part and understand how to do things with that API. But yeah, the documents and all of that can come, and I think it'd be a fun project if we get to work on this longer term. So hopefully this is worth investing in and you see the use case for it and it becomes like a sticky app that your team learns to enjoy and saves a lot of time with. So, okay, that's all I've got for now. I'll send more in a follow-up email. Thanks.